The library stood at the edge of a forgotten town, where the road faded into dust and silence filled the air. No one knew when it had been built or who had built it, but everyone agreed on one thing. You should never go near it after sunset. Its tall wooden doors were covered in strange carvings that seemed to shift if you stared too long, and its windows were completely black, as if they refused to let any light escape on stormy nights. People claimed they could hear whispers coming from inside, something between voices and wind. Still, one evening, a girl named Elara walked toward it, not because she was brave, but because she had no other choice. Her brother had disappeared 3 days earlier without any sign of what had happened. There were no footprints, no struggle, no clues, only a single book left open on his bed. The title was Asterisk, the Keeper of Quiet Things, Asterisk. And inside, one sentence had been underlined. Every story must return to where it began, after searching the entire town without success. Elara spoke to an old woman who lived near the forest. The woman quietly told her, "Try the library. That place doesn't keep books, keep stories." Although the idea frightened her, Elara knew she had to go. As she approached the building, the air grew colder and the sky darkened unnaturally. When she reached the entrance, the doors were already open, as if the library had been expecting her. Inside, the air smelled of dust and old paper. Endless shelves stretched in every direction, forming a maze that didn't seem possible. Books of every size filled the space. Some were chained, some were locked, and some looked almost alive. A whisper brushed past her ear, and then she heard it clearly, her name. When she recognized her brother's voice calling for help, she ran through the shifting aisles, following the sound deeper into the library. Eventually, she reached a small, fragile door carved with strange symbols. Ignoring the growing whispers warning her to leave, she opened it. Inside was a circular room with a massive, endless well in the center. There were no books here, only darkness. From within the well came hundreds of voices, whispering, crying, calling out. Suddenly, hands began to rise from the darkness, followed by faint, desperate faces. These were not just sounds, they were people, terrified. Elara asked what this place was, and a calm voice behind her replied, "The end of unfinished stories." She turned and saw a tall, shadowy figure standing in the doorway. It explained that her brother had come searching for a story and had found one, but in doing so, he had become part of it. When Elara demanded a way to save him, the figure told her the truth. To free him, she would have to take his place. Refusing to accept this, she insisted there had to be another way. After a pause, the figure offered an alternative. She could finish the story her brother had started. It handed her a blank book and told her to write. When Elara opened the book, the pages began to fill on their own. They wrote her memories, her thoughts, her entire life. With every word, she felt weaker, as if the book was taking something from her. As the writing continued, the well began to tremble and the voices grew quieter. Slowly, her brother began to rise from the darkness, reaching the edge and pulling himself out. He was alive, but as he looked at Elara, he realized something was wrong. She was fading. The figure explained that she was finishing his story, and once it was complete, she would take his place. Desperate, he begged her to stop, even offering to return to the well himself. But Elara refused. She would not lose him. As the final page turned and the book closed, the room fell silent. The well became still, and her brother collapsed safely on the ground. Elara, however, had changed. Her eyes were distant, her voice no longer fully her own. She calmly accepted her fate, understanding that every story needs an ending and someone to protect it. When she asked if anyone would remember her, the figure answered honestly, no, but they would feel her presence. With quiet acceptance, Elara walked to the edge of the well and sat down. The darkness did not pull her in, but welcomed her. The whispers returned, softer and calmer now, as if guided by her. Her brother tried to reach her, but it was too late. She was already becoming part of the library, part of the stories themselves. The door closed, and the figure told him he could leave. He ran through the maze until he reached the entrance and stepped outside. Behind him, the door slammed shut. When he turned around, the library was gone, leaving only empty land. Falling to his knees, he called her name. But there was no answer, only a gentle wind that no longer felt cold. Somewhere beyond the world he knew, Elara sat beside the endless well, listening to the quiet voices and watching over every unfinished story, waiting for the next one to begin.